I'm going to quickly talk about the song called Rather Be by Clean Bandit featuring Jess, Glynn. All throughout this video you see these shapes, and I'll show you why they're pointing towards sacred geometry a little bit later on in this video. The video will be really short, but sacred geometry is basically these the 5 platonic solids that are the foundation of reality. I'm not going to explain it because there's people, well, I can't explain it as well as other people can, but I've listened to a lot of stuff about this. What I'm saying is, go and watch other people talk about this because they'll give you better explanations. But this is basically the foundation of reality, and the what they're called, the sacred geometry is also being shown to you on a Coldplay album. That's the flower of life. Well, there's the egg of life, the seed of life. I'm pretty sure that one's the flower of life, but it's the pattern from which every single thing in reality occurs. You're also seeing Ethereum throughout this video, which is, I think it's standing at number 2 next to Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency market. I might be wrong about that, but it's quite a big cryptocurrency, doing well. But as you can see, it looks like the pyramid and then the reflection underneath, and you see it throughout the video. So here she wakes up, she goes and sits at a desk, and there you see it right there. And then she goes out, and on the side of this lorry she sees this picture of the bloke, and then in the next scene it's changed. So she's seeing virtual reality illusions. The world around her is changing, a bit like the Mandela Effect. She goes and buys some fish. She goes to see this, to pay for it, the little woman in the kiosk. She gives her the money, she hands her the change, and then it's a different woman sitting there, and she looks at her as if to say, that weren't you a minute ago. Again you see the sacred geometry, and then a little bit further on she's cooking some food, and there's all the people around her, and she's singing away, yeah, and she turns round, and everyone was just sitting there. She turns round, yeah, and they're all singing along to the same song she was. Yeah, it's like a form of street theatre, if you will. In this scene, this is presented to you as her being in a dream. She's dancing around with the blonde girl who was working in the kiosk, you know, who the woman transformed into her. And we see this to be a dream because in the next scene, she wakes up like, what the bloody hell just happened? She gets out of bed and you see the sacred geometry again, and he's pointing to it on the TV. And at this point in the song, she sings Sacred Simplicity, just as he cuts the meat, and you can see the colours in there. Yeah, it's because, and this is why they're tying sacred simplicity to these shapes, to point you towards sacred geometry. And she gets home, she crashes out in her bed, and then she wakes up and there's Jess Glynn singing, and so basically she's like woken up in a dream, as it were. And here again the sacred geometry on the top of the door, and the black and white symbolism on the floor. Now this, yeah, she sees this bloke playing the piano, she stops and stares at him. He catches her attention for some reason, and then the camera zooms in and you see the lizard eyes, the good old reptilians, yeah. This is what happened to me, yeah. When I first saw them, it's like, you know, leg it, you know what I mean? It's like shit yourself time. But yeah, when you see shapeshifting with your own eyes, well, I'll be honest with you, it didn't scare me at the time, but it's like later, in retrospect, it's like, whoa, what the bloody hell, what's happening? Do you know what I mean? But then, yeah, she goes and gets on the train, and then everybody is separate, and then all of a sudden they're acting in unison. This is what the targeted individuals are seeing in street theatre, yeah, where they're acting as a hive mind. She passes out because, you know, she cracks up, and this is what happened to me as well. Ended up in a mental hospital, even though there's nothing wrong with me, and I've been signed off by a psychiatrist saying there's nothing wrong with me. And then in the next scene, the geezer that's sitting there comforting her rips his face off and becomes him, the guy that he was also sitting in the restaurant when she was cooking. And this scene they show you, it's basically shapeshifting. So in this video, you've seen the reptilians, you've seen the Mandela Effect, you've seen shapeshifting, you've seen the targeted individual street theatre, you know, and it's all in a music video. But no one's analysing it, no one's looking at this, and it ends with sacred geometry. Although technically that's not sacred geometry, it's just, you know, they're pointing you towards it by, in that point in the song, saying sacred simplicity. I won't sing it, but you get the point. So yeah, all that in a music video. You know, as a side note, I actually love the song. Very good song. And if you watch the next video I'll upload, it will be about a song called At Night by Shakedown. No, is it Shakedown? Yeah, it is. I think it's Shakedown. Is it Shakedown? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Brilliant song, brilliant song. But I mentioned something similar in that as well. Take it easy.